Hi there, Wycliffe Barrett here, Xplane Dedicated. It's a Monday morning and I've got lots to talk about today. This is kind of an update to what's happening with XP11 and a number of things. So I'll see you right after the intro. Today I'm going to be talking about XP11 Public Beta 13 and some of the recent updates in that. Also, we'll note that there has been an increase in FPS for a number of users, depending on, of course, your machine specification and graphics card. Also today we're going to be looking at Ground Handling Deluxe by Jar Design, Tugmaster by Jar Design. These have been updated, or should I say they actually work in XP11 with no problems. Also Flight Factor's A350 has been updated for XP11. Now this isn't the professional update that we've been waiting for, it's just an update that makes it work in XP11 with a few minor tweaks here and there. Further to that, I need to talk about threaded optimization. I'm going to mention that here now, I think, because it has caused an awful lot of confusion for a lot of people. Now in Xplane 10, if you add hyper-threading capability in your graphics card, you would turn it off for Xplane 10. It really didn't make any difference. In fact, if you had it off in Xplane 10, you had an increase in frames per second. In Xplane 11, it is the opposite way around. You now turn it on in Xplane 11. Xplane 11 is a complete rewrite, don't forget, of the product. It's a new run. So threaded optimization should be on. And the way to do that, well, we'll see in the video because I've done a little bit of film clip for you, but basically you go to your NVIDIA control panel. Whilst we're talking about NVIDIA, I'm going to say this, and because I get this question all the time, I see it all over the internet. NVIDIA Inspector does not work with Xplane. It serves no purpose whatsoever. So if you've got NVIDIA Inspector and you used to use it in the other sim, it does not work in Xplane at all. So it's just pointless having it, okay? The 737-800X Modified, which is the default 737-800 in Xplane 11, has had another, well, I'm saying another update. I did a review last week. There have been several updates since last week. In fact, I think we're now on 2.03, and he keeps adding stuff in. So the magenta line is now on the navigation display, TCAS warnings, traffic alerts. There's been a whole range of stuff that's been updated, and what I'll do is I'll put up the release notes for that in the video. Oh, I'll tell you what's happened. Finally, something that's happened that I'm really pleased about. In Xplane 11, if you want to configure your joysticks or yokes, you get a graphical image of your equipment. I've got an X52 Pro, and the only graphical image I ever had was of the rudder pedals. Okay, so the throttle control and the joystick. I never had a graphical image for that. Now we have it. Or should I say, we've only got the joystick. We haven't got the throttle control. But that doesn't matter because you can still configure it all anyway. But now we've got that graphical image of the joystick with all the buttons, which is brilliant. So you can configure all of your buttons graphically instead of having to think about it in text form only. So that's fantastic. I'm really pleased about that. I'm just looking at my piece of paper here, turning over. Some good news. Some really good news, but unfortunately all I can do is tell you about this. Can't show you anything because there are no images available, there's no video available, but SkyMax is getting an update. It will become SkyMax 4.1, so I'm not quite sure when that's happening, only that I know that it is, and I've had that from the guys at SkyMax themselves. They've told me that SkyMax Pro version 4 will become SkyMax Pro version 4.1. I suspect it will be a free upgrade because it's in the SkyMax Pro 4 run. Okay, and then finally we're going to have a look at an airport that's been done by Tony Wroblewski. And if you know who Tony Wroblewski is, he's the guy who's been doing these wonderful scenery enhancements such as GB Pro. I think he did Poland and Norway and a few others as well. Tokyo, is it Tokyo or Japan? I can't quite remember, but he's done a very highly detailed airport in Norway, which requires no libraries, none whatsoever. So I'm going to go through all of that again as we go through the video. I'll see you in a moment. So, as I said, Xplane 11 is now in public beta 13, and the public betas are coming out fast and furious. I still think there's quite a few more to go, but public beta 13 did give us a massive increase in frames per second, and which is really quite encouraging. But recently what's happened is the 737-800X modified has had another update, and I think we're on 2.03 if I recall. And just looking down the list of stuff here, the correct display targeted speed has been put on, improved graphics for TCAS and navigational display. There's a TCAS test graphics, there's traffic message to the ND, there's airplane displayed on the TCAS and traffic avoidance. There's an awful lot more stuff as well, which you can see in the whole list there. For the 737-800X, Emma B has been hard at work, and she did this beautiful Britannia livery on the weekend. Very, very nice indeed, and you can get that from xplane.org as always. All of Emma's liveries are on there for the 708X. Next thing I mentioned in the beginning was the NVIDIA threaded optimization option and how this has caused a number of problems. So right click on your screen and open up the NVIDIA control panel, and here you can see the control panel, and if you need the 3D settings there, and if you scroll down, here we go, down, 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 you will come to threaded optimization. Now, I can't say this enough. In Xplane 11, you turn this on. You turn threaded optimization on in Xplane 11 and off in Xplane 10, okay? If you don't know the settings for Xplane 11, you can check one of my other videos which talks about the perfect PC settings. Moving on, back into Xplane 11. This is something that I've been waiting for an awful long time because I've got the Cytec X52 Pro, and previously when you went to the joystick all you had was nothing. Now we've got a nice graphical representation. As you can see, all the numbers are buttoned, and if you click on a button you can then apply anything you want to it from the list on the right hand side. Previously in Xplane 10 this was a very confusing operation. You had to go through loads of text files and relational databases, but now it's really quite simple. You have a graphical image of whatever your flight controller is with all the buttons identified numerically, and you click on the number, or you click on the button, the number, and then you choose what you want that particular button to do. On those buttons there, the paddle switches, I've got flaps up, flaps down, gear up, gear down, and reverses, I think. So brilliant, and I really am pleased about that. It's been a long time coming. Also, of course, you've got your rudder pedals, so you can have a look at those as well. And there's not an awful lot to do with rudder pedals, is there really? It's just sorting out the axis and your toe brakes, which you can do there with those three buttons. I suppose if you wanted to be really clever, you could apply different things to your brakes, your toe brakes, if you wanted to. You could, guns or something, or a different view, but that's highly improbable. Finally, here we come. This is ENOV, sorry, Echo November Oscar Victor. This is a beautiful little airport in Norway that has been done by Tony Robluski, or Antwerp. It's really, really nice. I like Tony Robluski's work, and if you don't know Tony Robluski, he was the guy that did GB Pro, World to Xplane, and I think he did Norway Pro, and for some reason I seem to think that he did Tokyo or Japan. I'm not quite sure about that. I mentioned it in the intro, in the very long intro, which really is immaterial. But having a look at this, it's a lovely little airport. I would say it was a regional airport more than anything else. There is an ATR in a hangar, but it's more likely to be twins, beaches, and Beechcraft Barons. But it's not so much the airport; it's the surrounding area as well that's mixed in with Tony's wonderful scenery. And the mountainous region of Norway just looks absolutely superb. Here I am. I'm going to be doing a usual approach. I cannot remember which runway this one is. But I did approaches from each end. It's just
The scenery around here is absolutely gorgeous. Now, I've only got default scenery, but with ENOV, the airport itself, you do get a really fabulous orthophoto scenery that Tony has done. And the surrounding area, of course, the OSM data really looking good with the autogen. We don't call it autogen in Xplane, it's just OSM data, and which comes from OpenStreetMaps. In case you don't know, OpenStreetMaps is where all the roadway data comes from within the Xplane world. And because it's OpenStreetMaps, of course, many people and people who submit data to OSM, OpenStreetMaps, they put down houses and buildings, and more often than not, although they may not look accurate, they will be accurately placed. You go to any large city that you know throughout the world, and you'll be able to recognize the building structure around there. So here we are coming into land. I think for some reason, I think this is runway 24. I'll have to check it out. So beautiful. You've got these mountains on the left here that are going to cause problems, especially if the wind is coming down off the top of those. It'll be curling around, so it may well be a displaced approach in the real world. I'll have to look at the charts, but here we come, landing in the Cessna 172. This is the default Cessna 172, really nicely realized. Marvelous. There we go. Plop. Let's have a look at it from the other end. I think the different approach, and coming from the other end, the runway appears to be almost on a plateau, and once again you've got those mountains on the right hand side as you come in on this approach. I speeded this up a little bit as we come in, and those mountains there on the right hand side are going to cause you some problems, especially if the wind is coming from right to left off the top of there. It's going to curl down into that valley. There's lakes all around. It looks really lovely. I think Tony's done a wonderful job, and as you come in here you can see the orthophoto of the airport there, the grass texture, and it looks superb. One problem with this, there are no winter textures, and even if you use Simple Seasons or Winter 1.1, you'll have snow on all the mountains around you, but there'll be no snow represented on the ground at ENOV, which is a bit of a shame, but it does look really, really nice. Well, hope you enjoyed this vlog. As always, my name is Wycliffe Barrett, and this is Xplane Dedicated. We'll see you again soon. Cheerio. Yeah.